Hello. So we are in another hotel, and I thought this would be a good reason to put together another video that would be kind of easy for me to film because it doesn't require me to read anything. I thought it would be fun to put together a list of books that I think I'm going to give 5 stars to, so that later when I eventually read them, I can check back in with this video and see what ratings I actually gave them. Did I say my name? Hi, I'm Cassie. I am currently living in my car, but I am in a hotel room right now, so this is a really good time for me to record. If you hear any background sounds, that's not my fault. Hotels have noise. This is Tibby. Cloud is also in the bed, but he's asleep. I've seen a bunch of other people do this video, so I'm not like original here. This is something that a lot of other people on BookTube do, but it just seemed like fun, and I have a couple of other videos that I plan to do while we're here, but this one seemed to be like a really quick, easy way to get something out. I can only really carry some things with me because I'm living in my car, so I don't have all of these books with me. So I have them digitally, and I'll just pop that up right here. Tibby's gonna not mind it. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the books that I actually have with me, which there are only 3. But so we have the first one is A Curious Beginning. This is actually the first book in a series, and it's a series that a lot of people have read and is on like book, I don't know, 10 or 11 or something, maybe even further. I've never read it. I only heard about it because of YouTube, and I'm really excited because so many people whose tastes seem to align with mine really love this series. This is set in like 1800 like Victorian London, and it focuses on a girl called Veronica Speedwell, and the whole series is called like the Veronica Speedwell Mysteries, so each book is like a Veronica Speedwell mystery. And I've only read the back of this. I don't know too much about the series honestly, but she, according to the back of this book, like is about to be abducted, and she gets into like some shenanigans and has to figure out what's going on. And I think that it's got like maybe a detective-y sort of like, I don't know, fun Sherlock Holmes vibe for the series, and I think that would be really fun, especially with the main protagonist that's like a girl. And I do know that there's also some sort of like romantic subplot with this, and there's like a secondary like character who is like her romantic interest but partner or something like that. Again, I don't know too much about it, but I'm really excited. I think I'm gonna give this 5 stars just because so many people that I know have loved it. Okay, next up we have A Court of Mist and Fury, and I think I'm gonna give this 5 stars because I gave the first book 5 stars in the series, and everybody has told me that this one is better. Like everybody that I hear from says they liked this book more than they liked the first one. So if I loved the first one, I feel like I'm gonna super love this. And for those who don't know, this is a full series, and it's about a girl called Feyre who is whisked away into like the world of fairy from like her basic little village, and all of the stuff that she gets into while there. And there are all these characters. Some of them are like scary villains, some of them are like love interests, some of them are just like cool to learn about, like different creatures and things. And it's just so like magical and fun and also spicy. So I think I'm gonna give this 5 stars. I'm so excited to read this. I actually already started it a little bit like 2 months ago. I haven't been able to focus, and that's just because of like our situation right now. So it's like really difficult for me, but I think once my brain allows me to focus, I'm gonna focus on this and I'm gonna love it. Okay, and so for the last book that I have with me physically right now, I have Notes on an Execution, and I meant to read this honestly for like my April TBR, but I never got to it. So I'm excited to read it soon-ish, I don't know. I've heard really good things. Like, I don't think I know anybody who disliked this book that's read it, and that gives me very high hopes that I'm going to give it 5 stars. This is about a serial killer who's on death row, and the story about his life and about the situation is told through like 3 other people, like 2 people I think who he knows or is related to, and then like the detective who's like maybe investigating like the people he killed or something like that. I don't know too much about it, just that it's supposed to be like have really good social commentary, and it's considered like a crime thriller sort of book. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It has really high ratings like across the board, and it came out pretty recently, so I feel like having so many people having had read it already gives me high hopes too. Okay, so now moving on to the books that I have on my Kindle, and I don't have physical copies of right now, so I'm gonna just pop them up here. So first I have Even the Worm Will Turn, and this is actually a sequel novella to a novella that I've already read like a year or 2 ago. and that one is called The Worm and His Kings. I don't know too much about the sequel, and that's just because I feel like I knew a lot about the first one going into it, and I kind of wish I could have gone into it like knowing less, because it would have made it like, it was already really good and really exciting, but like going into it knowing not very much, I feel like I would have just been like, what's happening the whole time, which would have been fun for me. So I'm going to attempt to go into Even the Worm Will Turn like that, like what's happening. So I'll tell you about the first book, and this is a sequel. And the first one is about a girl who's trying to find her girlfriend, and they are like homeless. She's like looking in like the subway system, and there's like a bunch of stuff that goes on. I don't know how to say too much about these without giving it away or sounding like I'm not giving enough information, because there's so much packed into such little books. There was like a lot of like cool like cosmic sort of horror vibes, and also like creature-y horror vibes, and there was just so much in these that I really loved and had a lot of fun with, especially with like the time setting, because it was set in the 90s. And so there's just so much that I really liked, and I'm really excited for the sequel. Even not knowing too much about it, I feel like I'm going to give it 5 stars. I've also given Haley like 5 stars with pretty much everything that I've read by her. Like I can't think of anything I did not give 5 stars to, so yeah, I feel like I'm gonna give this one 5 stars. And then we have The Writing Retreat, which is like a thriller, and this has been recommended by so many people. I know that a couple people had like their little book clubs. This was the choice for it recently, so that makes me excited because I feel like there's gonna be a lot to discuss. I know that this one's supposed to be twisty. So this one is about a girl who wants to be a writer, but she's like not been very successful so far, and so when she's offered this opportunity to go to a writing retreat, she like jumps at the chance. She's like, wow, this is a great thing. I can't wait for this. And then once there, as these stories usually go with like writers at places, things start to get really weird, and then one of the writers like disappears. So I don't know a lot. This is all in the synopsis, but it sounds really cool, and I just really love books where the setting is like a big place and a lot of characters there, and then they start disappearing or things start happening to them. There's so many books, there's so many movies. It's formulaic, but I love it. And I've heard that this one's actually very like twisty, and it took people by surprise. So I'm very excited to read something that I feel is a formulaic trope and see how the writer handles it. And just based on other people loving it so much, I think I'm gonna give it 5 stars, because I don't know, I haven't been really wowed by any recent thrillers, so maybe my hopes are too high here, but I really feel like I'm gonna love this one. I don't know, we'll see. Then we have The Merry Dredgers, which this one is really cool because it's supposed to be about 2 sisters and one of them trying to investigate something that happened to the other one, and it's set at like an abandoned amusement park, which I think is like a really cool setting for books, and I wish more of them were set there. I also really love the cover of this book. I think more books should have pink on them. Like this one looks so cool, and I just think like the vibes of this one kind of like, it's supposed to be like weird and like, I don't know, I'm very excited. I've given like the other 2 books that I read by this author 5 stars, so I'm basing my hopeful 5-star rating for this one on that. Okay, so the next one is Little Miss Apocalypse, and this one, I think it's probably a different vibe from most of the others, if not all of the others on this list, and that's just because this one's like supposed to be like a wild, sort of bizarro, weird one, which the author writes a bunch of things like that, and I have 5-starred pretty much all of them. Like, I just love it. It's so weird and it's so much fun. So I just have a lot of fun reading them, and I don't think this is going to be an exception. Plus the cover, like, it's so good. It's so colorful and it's so pretty. Like, I really love it. I'm going to have this one like as a physical copy because I'm pretty sure I have all of his other books, but I just don't have the means right now. So digital it is, and I'm actually probably going to be reading this one soon. It's not very long, so I might be able to check in on that one and say what I thought about it pretty soon. But this is about a girl in high school who's trying to trick this like popular guy into being her prom date, but she has like a missile in her like downstairs that's gonna detonate when she gets her first kiss. So that's just what the synopsis is. Like, it sounds wild and wacky, and that's what I said. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give it 5 stars. Okay, and so last on this list we have Unbreakable, and this is by Mira Grant, who's like the other name or one of the other names of Shanna Maguire. So Shanna Maguire writes the Wayward Children series, which I am like obsessed with and love so much, but I also really love her horror writing, which she writes under Mira Grant. This one isn't supposed to be, I think, like super horror-y, but it is like the magical girl trope. Like it's about a group of magical girls, like I think like Sailor Moon, you know, and some stuff that they get into, and it's supposed to be like very brutal and gory. So I am so looking forward to that. The lighting is, I think it's gonna be amazing. This one was like very limited, so I only have a digital copy, and I'm probably not going to be able to ever own a physical copy because a lot of her books, especially the novellas, tend to be very limited. So like they're like less than like 2,000 copies printed of them. But, and if you're a collector, you know, that's fine, you can get them. But me personally, as much as I love her books and her, I can't afford that many special edition things. So digital it is. I do actually have Rolling in the Deep, which is my favorite novella of all time. It's about killer mermaids. That's also by her, and that one was very limited, but a friend gifted me that like way after it was published, like before, like I didn't even know about it when it was published, and then so I lucked out with that. And then there was also like a very thick book that I have in storage right now that came out recently. Like I had pre-ordered that like over a year ago, and it just kept getting delayed and wasn't shipped out, which is another reason that I don't tend to like to do that, because it's very unpredictable. And I ended up getting that book like right before I moved out of my house, and I was just, it caused a whole bunch of stress. That's totally unrelated to the rest of this, but just as an aside, yeah, if you want to read some of these novellas like the ones by Mira Grant, or you know, you might have to just deal with doing it digitally like I am. Okay, so yeah, those are the books that I think I'm going to read and give 5 stars to. It's a pretty wide range of genres and topics and things. I like a good assortment of things, I guess. For most of these, I am basing that I'll give them 5 stars off of the fact that I've loved other things the authors have written, but that's not the case for all of them, and I think that's pretty cool. Like, it's really exciting to see which ones I'm gonna love, which ones I won't. Yeah, I thought about reading them for like a vlog, like doing the predictions and then reading them all in the vlog, but I was like, that's gonna take forever, and then I'll probably have to limit it to only a few books. So maybe I'll do that in a different vlog where I'm only reading a couple books, and I'll just be like, this is what I expect to rate it. But overall, I was not going to do that for this one. Sorry. But I will try to remember every time I read one of the books on this list to check in and link back to this video and see what I thought. You see this guy? Lord of the Lounge over here. If you've already read any of these, please tell me if you like them. I would love to hear it. But otherwise, thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Where's my thumb? Bye.